Today's video is sponsored in part by Vendoo.
I feel like I'm not in the frame here. Hold up. Let's move this a little bit. How's that? Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. My name is Lori. This is Lori's Boston Found. I am a reseller on Poshmark and on eBay. And today I am doing a little Q&A for you. I put some questions out on Instagram. Thank you to everybody who responded. I typed everything out, so I'm gonna try to get to everything. These questions range from YouTube questions, some personal questions, obviously a lot about reselling and everything in between. I love doing Q&As. I always find it really interesting to see what people are curious about. People ask some really great questions. So I am just gonna dive right in no particular order. Can you explain more about what can be shipped first class on eBay? Yes, this used to confuse me a lot when I first started on eBay. Anything that is under 1 pound can be shipped first class. So that's why I love to cross-post a lot of lightweight items to eBay. And I always recommend that to people when they're first getting started, if they're nervous about shipping, to post all of their lightweight stuff over there. It's more affordable. You do have to weigh your items on eBay to make sure that they are under 1 pound, and you do have to plug in the weight before you ship something. Some people do that in the draft part of their listings. They do it up front. I do it afterwards, which I wouldn't necessarily recommend. Sometimes I pay a little more for shipping. Sometimes I make a couple extra dollars with shipping, but overall, it works for me. So anything that's over 1 pound has to go priority mail. I hope that helps. Next question, what platform is your favorite to sell on? So clearly I give the most love to Poshmark, and I guess that would be my favorite platform as well. It's super easy to list things. The shipping, as a follow-up to the last question, is just so easy. They just send you a label. eBay, I'm warming up to. Obviously, most people know that that's not like my main gig, but most people I know, if they're really serious about financial goals with their reselling business, often end up on eBay. You can ship internationally. Way more eyes are going to be on your items when you're shipping and selling through eBay. I haven't had a lot of luck with Mercari. I don't list on Tradesy. I have a Depop account. I feel like I have about 100 items I should list over there, but I never do. I've tried Facebook Marketplace. It's not my favorite, but I do think Facebook Marketplace is amazing if you are trying to sell heavy stuff that you don't want to ship. And there's kind of a level of casualness with Facebook Marketplace that you don't have to worry about your photos looking so professional. It's more, you know, neighbors selling to neighbors. That's more the vibe over there, in my opinion. Yeah, so Poshmark is definitely my top selling platform. It's where I make the most of my money. Just to put it in perspective, on average every month I sell between 150 and 175 items on Poshmark, and I might sell 5 on eBay. And the only reason that the numbers are like that is because I nurture Poshmark, right? I feel like the more love you put into a platform, the more love it's gonna give you back. For the month of October though, and for the rest of the season for Q4, I'm really doing a push where I want to cross-post more consistently. I have Vendoo and I draft all of my items right in Vendoo. So they are all right there, ready to go. So they're drafted and all listed on Poshmark. But then I have like probably 700 items that I still need to cross-post to eBay, and it's already drafted. So my goal this month is to cross-list 7 items per day on average, so I get over 200 new listings over on eBay. And I started yesterday, and already today I made a sale on eBay, and somebody asked a question about another item, and somebody else gave me an offer that I countered and they declined. But already, in just really consistently listing for 2 days, I can already see the traffic coming back to eBay. So highly recommended. If you guys would like to save 20% on your first month with Vendoo, I do have a link in my description. So I do want to thank Vendoo for sponsoring this portion of today's video. I'm probably gonna mention them again in my Q&A because sometimes they come up. What's the key to succeed in this business? Ooh, that's a loaded question. That is a loaded question. And I have somewhat of like a cliche answer, but I really believe consistency is key in succeeding in reselling. The tricky thing about reselling is that I think everybody loves the sourcing part, but the truth of the matter is that there are so many strands that go into this business and things that need to get done in order to be successful. Listing is one of them. Listing consistently If you're on Poshmark, sharing your closet, sending offers to likers, cleaning up your listings after a while, tweaking them, making sure the photographs are clean and neat and that your keywords are there, following up with customer questions, packaging, shipping, steaming, measuring, photographing, putting inventory away. There is just a lot to the pie, and sourcing is just one piece of the pie. And I feel like that's what everybody focuses on, even in the reseller community. Like, what do you see mostly for me? I mostly do haul videos. That's what people enjoy. That's what I enjoy. People love the hunt, but being consistent is really key in being successful and also being willing to change. The fashion industry changes really quickly. Reselling changes really quickly. 3 years ago, there were not platforms like Vendoo to help you cross-post. It used to only be done manually. There used to not be an option to send offers to likers on Poshmark or on eBay. You can send offers to watchers on eBay. I can't imagine my business without that feature. So things change. One thing I would like to really emphasize though is you have to enjoy it. I feel like you have to enjoy it to be successful. I am genuinely curious about a lot of things. I think my curiosity leads me to some really interesting pieces, and a lot of people who I respect and watch in the reselling community, I see that their curiosity and their willingness to research products, run comps on things, investigate where a brand might be from, or if they're curious about an artist mark on a piece of artwork, to like dig into it. I think that when you're curious, it pushes you to find out new things about products. And you may learn from your curiosity that it's not worth picking up too. And it also might result in you finding a really interesting piece and then taking it home and making some good money on it. So curiosity, consistency, willingness to change. And I think with any business, you kind of have to have thick skin, not take things personally, keep things professional, keep things positive. It's really easy to get caught up in the negativity, especially within our community. I think we've had some pretty sad days recently with like bashing other people or takedown, cancel culture. I just feel like the people who are going to succeed are going to be the people who can rise above all that and kind of keep moving forward with a positive attitude. Those are my thoughts right here. Q&As are also interesting too, because as I read them, sometimes when the Q&A is over, I'm like, I should have said this, or did I emphasize that too much, or whatever. I always second guess myself on Q&As, but you also get off the cuff answers, so that's good. When will the Boston bins open? I have no idea, and I miss them so much. They closed during COVID and they have not reopened. I heard there were other issues besides COVID that were preventing them from reopening, but it's all been rumor mill. I also heard it through the grapevine that they will be opening soon. I don't know what soon means, but that would be amazing because they were one of my favorite places to thrift in this state, and I really miss the bins in Boston. How do you find the motivation to list? That is my least favorite part. Great question. Listing is not my least favorite part, but the way that I find motivation to list is to buy things I'm interested in listing. I've learned about myself that there are just some things that even though I know they're going to make good money, I'm not interested in selling them. I use electronics as an example for this all the time. There are people who I see at the bins get really excited about old VCRs and, vintage radios, and they're always plugging things in and testing things out. And I look over it, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, you couldn't pay me to sell electronics. Like, they just don't interest me at all. I have learned about myself that when I'm thrifting things that I am excited to go home and list, I will go home and list them. If I'm buying things that have really heavy flaws, or if I'm buying a brand, even though I think the style is terrible and the comps aren't great, but it's Christian Dior, like Christian Dior I still might pick up. Oftentimes I will ask myself that when I'm out thrifting. I'll say, when you get home, are you going to want to photograph this and be excited to list it and research it? And are you curious about this piece? And if my answer is no to half or more of those questions, then I usually leave it behind. There are a lot of reasons that go into what I pick up, but mainly to answer that question, I try to pick up things that I'm excited to list, and that motivates me to list. Have you always been a thrifter, or did you start thrifting when you started reselling? So I know my mom is watching this, so shout out to Meme. She was the OG thrifter who always brought me to yard sales as a kid. It was literally like a family activity. It was was something we did on the weekends with my grandmother. It was something we did on vacation. We used to go to Maine and we stayed in Old Orchard Beach. Well, we stayed in Saco. We went to Old Orchard Beach a lot when I was a kid, and we used to go to a flea market in Scarborough, Maine. I think it's still happening now, but when I was a kid, it was massive, and we would spend hours there and just go up and down every single aisle, and we found so many treasures, and my mom was like the master of finding something and just going home and spending so much time bringing it back to life and making it beautiful. And that's definitely where I got my inspiration. I've been a lifelong thrifter, so this was a very natural fit for me. What are you doing to prep for fourth quarter? Well, it is October 3rd and I haven't really done anything, if I'm being honest. What I typically do, and I will do this week, is I do a huge USPS box order. I get all of the boxes that I think I'm going to need. They're all free. If you go to USPS.com, that's United States Postal Service, you can get all of your boxes for free. I need to stock up on shoe boxes because I do sell a lot of shoes. There's a regional box. I don't know if it's regional box A or B, but I love that box too because it fits like smaller shoes that might get a little lost in the big shoe box. I love the medium flat rate boxes. I'll also be ordering thank you stickers. And this year I am really focusing on Amazon for quarter four. I am like snail's pace when it comes to Amazon, but I'm finally finding my footing. I'm kind of missing all the Halloween hype right now because I'm gated in a lot of things, but I'm really looking forward to Christmas. It's my favorite holiday, so I'm really looking forward to sourcing for Amazon for Christmas. And I think that's going to definitely get some of my focus for quarter four. Do negative comments or feedback get to you, and how do you deal with them? I think negative comments and feedback, if you're human, it always affects you. I've learned to have thick skin. I sleep pretty well at night. I feel like I'm an honest reseller. I'm honest on YouTube. And so if there's something that I say that offends somebody, I accept it. You know, not everybody is going to like me, and I know that going in. I don't get really bummed out about like thumbs down on my videos, although I get really excited for thumbs up. But I realize that my message isn't for everybody. I think I've learned to take certain things not personal, but the comments that attack my character sometimes bum me out. There have been a few things that I have tackled as far as like talked about them on Instagram or on YouTube, and other things I just delete and move on. I delete comments that are nasty and I just go on with my day, because I think sometimes when I get a really nasty or ignorant comment, in my opinion, it's not even worth engaging with that person, and I just delete and block. And the block button is really empowering. This is my channel, this is my space. I try to keep it safe and positive for everybody who decides to watch me. If people get super negative, they don't need to be here. If you've been watching me for a while, you know that I don't always delete like comments that aren't singing my praise. If there's a comment where somebody criticizes me, I will leave it sometimes and let other people chime in, or I'll respond with an honest answer. I don't mind constructive criticism at all. If you are a person who wants to put yourself on YouTube, you have to be open to some criticism, and some people have made some good points. One of the things that comes to mind is when somebody criticized the fact that I sold a fur coat that I picked up at a yard sale and flipped it, and I featured it in a what sold video. In my opinion, I was giving the fur piece new life. There was an animal who died for this fur, and now by recirculating it, perhaps that person who would have bought a new fur coat is now buying a recycled one. That was something I was actually really curious. I wanted to hear people's feedback on. Some people who are very anti-selling furs, even pre-owned, were saying that like the more it gets circulated back into the system, the more it promotes people wearing them. You can donate them to animal shelters, and they're really comforting for animals who are in the shelters. Some people made really good points. It wasn't necessarily what I believe, but that was a comment that I left, and I wanted to hear from people because I thought I could learn from it. So some comments I don't have any problem with leaving on my channel. Other ones that are just like derogatory and ridiculous are just gone and they'll never see the light of day. Someone also asked, I remember one of your goals this year was to cross list to eBay, but you rarely mention it. What happened? What happened is I have not been really consistent about it. I got very distracted this year when I started selling on Amazon. I had a huge push for eBay in the month of January, and I did a challenge in January as well. And I think I went from like 300 in sales in the month of December to 1850 the month that I did the big push, which I think was January into February. I know that it can make a huge difference and I just need to carve out the time for it. So now that I'm like making it a goal for the month of October, I'm sure that my sales will really increase on eBay. What label printer do you use? I use the Faux Memo. I don't know if you can see it back here. This is my Faux Memo. The reason I use Faux Memo is because the company reached out to me early on when I got on YouTube. They were one of the first companies to offer me any product. So they sent me a free printer. I did a review. I was looking for a new printer because I was struggling with my Dymo. I haven't had the best luck with Dymo. I still keep it as a backup. Like when I've run out of labels with my Faux Memo printer, I've plugged my Dymo back in. I just feel like the Dymo is user sensitive. Like you press one button and it spits out like 10 labels and it goes offline a lot. I just really struggled. I felt like I was always like having to tweak it. In my Faux Memo printer, it's been over 2 years and I've had a really good time with it. If I were to get another label maker, it would be probably a Rollo because it's designed very similarly to the Faux Memo. And I feel badly because I linked the Faux Memo in my Instagram stories recently and people said that the link didn't work. So I need to reach out to them and see if there's a link because I know that they've done an updated version of their 4x6 label printer to the version that I have. So I would love to try out the new version. So next up, what have your past careers been and what led you to reselling in YouTube? So prior to being a reseller, I was a school teacher. I got my master's in special education and psychology, and I have a minor or a certificate. It wasn't a minor, I think it was a certificate in behavior management. When I taught in California, I had kids who had real behavioral needs. Sometimes we had to restrain. I had small classes, 8 or less students in my class, and I had 2 full-time instructional assistants with me when I taught in California. I taught in Connecticut before I moved to the West Coast. And in Connecticut, I was more of like a pull-out, like a resource room teacher. And I worked with kids with reading specifically. And I feel like teaching really has helped me on YouTube because I am a teacher by trade. Some of the information that I share, while I don't consider my channel like a teaching channel, I do hope that people might learn a little bit when they watch some of my videos about reselling. And yeah, so that I think really led me to this place. And I think, as I mentioned earlier, just being a lifelong thrifter, I love the thrill of the hunt. I'm kind of a collector by nature, which I'm not really proud of, but you know, I had a huge Precious Moments collection when I was a kid. I collected Beanie Babies for a while, not my proudest moment, but I loved the hunt. It was never really the stuff that I wanted. It was always the hunt. And now I think my biggest collection right now is American Girl, which I have so much of, but I love it. And also I've been really into luxury handbags lately. So those are kind of my 2 vices now. And yeah, and as far as what led me to reselling, I always sold things on Craigslist. I've been on eBay for over 20 years or 25 years. The first huge thing I sold on eBay was when we lived in California. I used to sell Mary Kay. And we were moving back. I was pregnant with Anthony and we did a huge listing for like all of my inventory before we moved back to the East Coast. This was in 1999. It was hundreds of dollars that I sold and we had to wait for the check to clear. It was very new. And so I've been on eBay forever. So I've always been very comfortable reselling stuff. I had a huge playground in my backyard that we paid a couple $1,000s for before we moved to this house. And I put it on Craigslist and I sold it for $900. You know, I've never done it like as a job, but I've always been pretty comfortable with it. And then I left American Girl for 2 years in my 10-year range with them. When I left, I sold on eBay. And I remember my best week was that I sold 18 items in 1 week, and I was thrilled with that. But I had very few resources. I had no idea there were YouTube videos about how to sell anything online. I was not tapped into the community with Instagram or any type of social media. I was all by myself and I had so much to learn. So that kind of fizzled out. And then when I started reselling formally, I think a lot of people know the story, but my good friend Rafaela worked with me at American Girl. She considered herself a full-time reseller and she was moving to Pittsburgh and she was leaving American Girl. And I'm like, well, what do you mean a full-time reseller? Because I had done it on my own. And then she explained to me the whole community and then I tapped in and the rest is history. So that's what led me to where I am today. And as far as YouTube goes, I'm just a visual learner. I was obsessed with Street Savvy's haul videos. Savannah would do these hour and a half hauls from the Goodwill outlet in Colorado, and I was completely fascinated. And I just couldn't get enough of her videos, and I'm a very visual learner, so just one day I decided to do it, and I filmed the wrong way. I've said that many times before. I was in my pajamas. It was like a small little haul from Savers, but I really enjoyed it, and I just kept going with it. I didn't pay attention to analytics or growth or anything like that for probably 6 or 7 months until I really thought that this could be something that I could actually like make money at or do more consistently with more of a vision. So I kind of stumbled into YouTube, and reselling was something that I always had in me. What are your top three items you can always sell? I like this question a lot. And this I did do a little bit of research, and I have 2 answers for you. I decided to go with 3 shoe brands that always sell for me that aren't at all sexy, but they sell. Vans, Dansko, and Crocs. Vans, they all have to be in decent condition and that sort of thing. But those 3 brands, they may not sell for a ton of money, but anytime I see them in good condition at the bins, I pick them up and they always sell. I sold a pair of Crocs today in a bundle and I had them priced at $55. They were like a Hawaiian slide. Dansko's, that's like a quick $30 to $50 depending on the style and condition. In Vans, I just sold a pair of high top suede Vans that were beat up for $40 2 days ago. So like these are just brands that I know I can always sell. Things that I love to pick up or I'm excited, like, oh, I'm excited to sell that. Free People, Patagonia, Lululemon, I kind of put them all in the same category. They're just like household names that I know people are searching for, that I have a lot of luck selling. So if I pick up the right style from those brands, they will go. So those are just like quick in my mind, like, oh, that's money. Oh, that's money. It may not be a ton, but I know. Coach Vintage, I've been really enjoying picking up lately. It's been selling very well for me, and this would not have been my answer a year ago, but Vintage Coach is doing really well. And this is just a little bolo I wanted to share with you that has quite the following, and it is Franklin Covey. I love selling leather Franklin Covey binders. Every time I go to like the stationery section of Savers, I look for Franklin Covey. I have sold a few of their binders on eBay. I actually found one that happened to be new with tags that I sent to Amazon. I scanned it and it worked, and it sold for like $125 in a day. And just recently somebody posted on Instagram, I don't remember the account, but they had like an old turquoise Franklin Covey. It was discolored, but it was a really unique color, and it sold for $175. So Franklin Covey is just a brand that I know if I find it in good condition or a unique piece, and I'm talking about the leather binders, that because you can still order the inserts for it. That's like money in the bank. So those are some brands that I wanted to share. What do you do for fun? Not related to reselling. I hang with my dogs. I love Lucky and Lulu. They're both cockapoos. I like to drink a lot of coffee. I have such basic girl answers. I love Netflix. Netflix is something I can do in the background and sometimes resell as well, so I don't know if that counts. And also, one of the things I love to do is, since my husband's been home for, 20 months now or however long it's been, we go for walks in the town over, and that's like kind of become a little ritual for us. He does it more than I do because sometimes it's hard for me to get away from work. Right now in October in Massachusetts, it's like the best time to be taking walks, so it's wonderful. But really, I like to thrift. So I'm very lucky that what I do for a living is what I would choose to do even if I wasn't working. But it makes it very hard for me to have good work-life balance because if given the opportunity, I will always thrift. What is your favorite part about being a reseller? I love the hunt, which I mentioned earlier. That really is a driving force with reselling. And I love that I can incorporate work with travel. As you know, I've shown in my Thrift Across New England series, I love that I can travel to different places and explore their thrift shops and also work that into what I do for work, which is very exciting. And I love the freedom that I can make my hours to a certain extent. You do have flexibility, but there are also things that still always have to get done. I always have to ship. I always have to list. I still have to adhere to that sort of thing, but I still can make my own hours. Some days I'll work like a 12-hour day. Like Sundays, right now I'm filming on a Sunday. This is a very busy day for me because I always post a video on either Sunday or Monday. My helper, I have a high school helper who comes here. She always works on Sundays for 3 hours, which means I have to prep stuff for her. I'll list while she's creating drafts. So that's always like a guaranteed few hours of work. And I also record for my podcast every Sunday. So Sundays are a super busy day for me. Mondays are busy because I spend a lot of time shipping on Monday morning. But then by Monday afternoon after shipping, sometimes I'm fried because I had such a busy Sunday and Monday morning that I oftentimes go coast through the afternoon on a Monday. So it's nice that I can just kind of fill in the blanks where I need to with my reselling business. How is your sassy senior doggo doing? He's doing okay. He's hanging in there. We're taking it day by day with Lucky. I know his time with us is limited, but I feel like he's also had like 9 lives. So I'm honestly just enjoying every day with him. This afternoon, he had some homemade sauce and meatballs and gnocchis that my mother-in-law made for Jay's birthday. And so I gave him his medicine with meatballs, and he has like a little saucy face, and he was very happy. I take him for a lot of rides. I give him all the treats he wants because, you know, he's getting old, but he's doing great. Thank you for asking. What is your most memorable thrift find? I have a couple, but one that comes to mind is a Baba sweater that I found by accident. And this kind of gets back to the curiosity thing. I found this wool sweater at a store. It was like $5 and change, and it just seemed nice. So I looked into it, and it turned out to be this crazy bolo. And I listed it for $245, and it sold for $210 like within 5 days. And I love that sale because it was just so exciting to stumble on something that I knew nothing about, research the brand, find out that it was this really wanted item. I think they're made in Spain, and then have it sell so quickly. I really like those sales that I don't expect. Like obviously if I find a pair of teaks or Rothy's, I know it's going to be a great sale. I love those too, but like it's the unexpected ones that I really like. I found a bracelet that said "No sleep till Brooklyn," and I just loved it for the expression. I had a friend whose son had just moved to Brooklyn that day, so I picked it up just based on style. Got home, found out it was Kate Spade. It was super rare, and it sold for $100 in a day. Like those are the sales that really excite me, the ones that I don't expect.
I said this next question wrong, but what the person was asking was, what is the most expensive item that I personally own?
Like I said earlier, I kind of have a thing for luxury handbags. I have a Louis Vuitton Pochette Matisse that I recently purchased that was over $2,000. And I think it's crazy. It's almost embarrassing for me to talk about luxury handbags on a thrifting channel, but it is what it is. You know, I love to wear like a thrifted item with luxury. I get more excited about like the $5 Lululemon leggings that I found at Savers than I get about my luxury. I mean, I get excited about them, but I guess there's a little level of guilt in purchasing new expensive luxury items when I thrift for a living. Do you think you lost money or made money with your BOGO sale? Oh, I definitely made money on my buy one, get one sale that I ran just recently over Labor Day weekend. That is a sale that I absolutely love to do. BOGO sales I highly recommend because you sell at least 2 items with every sale. For me, instead of doing a 50% off sale, a buy one, get one just moves more product, so I love it. I may lose people who maybe only want 1 item in my closet, so maybe a 50% off sale would work better for that. But I really love that the BOGO sale just encourages bundles and it just moves things, and most of the time it's not quite 50% off. Like someone might buy their first item at $50, get a $35 item. It's not as deeply discounted, but I think that my buyers really appreciate it. And I only advertise it on Instagram, so if I don't always talk about it here on YouTube until it's like the what sold portion. So if you're not following me on Instagram, I'm just Lori's Boston Found on Instagram, and that's where I post any specials I'm having or things like that. I've never done a name your price sale. They terrify me. I price things high, and I'm the first one to say that because I pretty much always accept reasonable offers. Sometimes I'm a little more strict about what I'll let something go for when I first list it. I like to give myself some wiggle room, so my buy one get one sale is one that I absolutely love. What is your favorite place to thrift anywhere in Massachusetts? Not gonna say it's my honey hole. I can't share it. Can't share my absolute favorite place, but I will say it's closer to Boston. Like, I live in Central Mass and it's towards Boston. But I will say I thrift all over the place. And I do have my series Thrift Across New England, which highlights so many incredible places that I've been to. I mostly go to the Goodwill outlets in New Hampshire since Boston closed. That Goodwill is really good though in Boston, and I always shop at Savers. I feel very comfortable at Savers because it's close to my house, so even though the prices can be high sometimes, I really know that store very well, so I know when they're having specials, I know when they're stocking, I know when their operations team isn't there, so new stuff isn't going out. So I've know that store the best, so I really do love Savers. What is something you passed on recently that you regret? I passed on a really pretty vintage sweater in one of my most recent Thrift With Me videos. It was like a soft, dusty pink, and it had like hand painting like right here. It was absolutely beautiful, beautiful condition. It was $7.49 and 20% off. And I passed on it because I was in this zone where I was looking for high-end brands or brands that I knew would be a quick flip or bring me $40 or more. And vintage is just a wild card sometimes. So even though I love to pick up vintage, sometimes it sits. And I always say this too, whenever I do Thrift With Me's, I'm not at my best because I'm juggling the camera, going through the rack and all that stuff, and I always miss good stuff when I'm doing a Thrift With Me. So I wish I had bought that sweater. What do you most desire to stop doing? Gosh, when I think just in terms of like the system of reselling from start to finish, I would say putting away inventory is what I wish I could stop doing. Like, in my perfect world, I would walk through the door and have 3 employees, one person to process my stuff, like steam it, put it in the spreadsheet. I would do the research for the things, have somebody else photograph and do drafts for me. I don't mind making things go live because I like doing like little details with my listings, and then having somebody put things away for me would be phenomenal. And I don't mind shipping, but those other 3 tasks I would love to maybe someday have more help with. But as of right now, I just have a high school student who comes 9 hours per week, 3 days for 3 hours. And I pay her $14.50 an hour, which is close to what minimum wage is here in Massachusetts. And she is on the books. I don't pay her under the table. And so I can only afford so much with that. But yeah, she's about $120 per week that I pay. Oh my God, she's worth her weight in gold. What's an item you were surprised sold really fast? My Judith Lieber belt sold so fast from my last video. It did sell to a viewer, thank you so much, but that sold in a bundle with a Torrid outfit for $150, the 2 items, which I gave a significant discount on the combo. But again, with vintage, I didn't know if that Judith Lieber belt would sit forever. I listed it for $199, and I listed a Torrid brand new with tag outfit for $85. And I sold the bundle for $150, but I still made a great profit on that. And it was a very quick turnaround. And I just said, let's do this, because I'm in the mode of like moving things. I feel like I hold on to stuff for too long and I like to shop too much. So sell it, get it out the door, and move on to my next shopping trip. So that surprised me that it sold so fast. I feel like we need a 7th inning stretch here. If you are still here, I love you so much. You are amazing for hanging in for this very long Q&A. I'm almost to the end here, so let's just wrap this up. How much money did you start with on Amazon? I didn't start with a budget. I will say that Amazon costs $39 a month for the professional plan. If you do a personal plan, you get charged $1 per item that you list. I started right away with the professional plan, which I probably didn't need because it took me a few months to get going. Amazon has been very slow going to get started for me. And typically if somebody is doing Amazon full-time, they are investing, from what I can tell, in some of my groups that I'm a part of, you can spend a lot of money buying stuff up front for Amazon. Just like with Poshmark, I would recommend like get used to Amazon by like scanning books in your house. Once you get approved, you do have to get approved. It's not like just pick up and go with Amazon. It's definitely a process, but like anything, the people who stick with Amazon have mad success with it, mad success. I don't know that I will ever get to a higher level because I really love the thrifting aspect of what I do. And I only sell stuff FBA, which is fulfilled by Amazon, because I don't want more inventory in my house. The whole idea of Amazon for me is to have it as passive income. So as I get more and more used to it, I will just send stuff to them. But I didn't start with a specific budget, but I will say I spend a lot more money on Amazon than I do thrifting. Oh, last question. How did you and Jay meet? Oh my gosh, funny. I met Jay at a church fair. We are both Catholic. We're not like super religious, but we were both brought up Catholic. And they used to have these big fairs in our communities that all like the high school kids would go to. And I met him the summer before my freshman year in high school. And he was playing poker with all of his Italian buddies on like the back steps of the church. And that's where I first met him. Our first date, I was running track, very short-lived season for me. I was like cheerleader, theater girl in high school, but I ran track for a very short time, and he played football, and he drove me home from the athletic field on the back of his moped. That was like our first date, but we were babies. We were just babies. I was a freshman in high school when we first started dating, and he was a sophomore. So crazy. We've been married 26 years. This June will be 27. All right, I hope I got to all the questions. If I missed your question, I'm so sorry. I just had to end this at some place. Thank you all for hanging in here with me. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see more from me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you soon. Love you guys. Bye. Mwah.
Thanks again to Vendoo for sponsoring today's video. Be sure to click the link in my description to try Vendoo and receive 20% off your first month of service.